Good evening. I would like to call this meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. Welcome to the May 26th City of Burlingame Planning Commission meeting. For all in attendance today, please note that the Planning Commission meeting is being held in person and using the Zoom webinar format. Please note that we are not accepting remote public comment during commission meetings. Agenda item number 2, roll call. The record should note that 4 members of the commission are present this evening. Commissioner Sean Lowenthal is absent. Okay. Agenda item 3, request for AB 2249 remote participation. No commissioners participating remotely under AB 2249. Agenda item 4, review of agenda. Staff, are there any changes to the agenda?
Staff has no changes to the agenda.
Okay. Are there any recusals? Okay. Agenda item 5, public comments, non-agenda. Members of the public may speak about any item not on the agenda. Members of the public wishing to suggest an item for future Planning Commission agenda may do so during the public comment period. The Ralph Brown Act, the state local agency open meeting law, prohibits the Planning Commission from acting on any matter that is not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. If you have any members of the public attending in person who wish to speak on any item that is not on our agenda tonight. Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item. Agenda item 6, consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar are considered to be routine. They are acted on simultaneously unless separate discussion and/or action is requested by the applicant, a member of the public, or a commissioner prior to the time the commission votes on the motion to adopt. This evening, we have 1 item on the consent calendar. The April 27th Planning Commission meeting minutes. Any members of the public or Planning Commission like to pull this item for discussion? Any comments, corrections, motions?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Horan, seconded by Commissioner Schmidt. Any comments on the motion? Okay, maybe we have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Horan,
Aye.
Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schmid,
Aye.
Chair Shores.
Aye. Motion passes 5A.
4001.
Right. Agenda item 7, action items. Let's see. First action item is 7A, which is major design review and special permit at 1431 Laguna Avenue. If you are the applicant and are attending the meeting via Zoom, please raise your hand so that we may be prepared for you to speak at the appropriate time. If possible, we ask that you also turn on your video at that time. Were any commissioners not able to visit the project site, or do any commissioners wish to note any ex parte communication regarding this project? Okay, no recusals. Let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the project site. Can we hear the staff report, please?
Yes, thank you. This is an application for a major design review and a special permit at 1431 Laguna Avenue, zoned R1. The subject property is an interior lot with an existing single-unit dwelling and detached garage. The applicant is proposing to demolish the existing single-unit and detached garage and construct a new 3,307 square foot, 2-story single-unit dwelling with a detached 1-car garage. The subject site is located in the special flood hazard area, and this does require that the finished floor be elevated to the base flood elevation plus 1 foot to comply with FEMA and building code requirements. The applicant is requesting a special permit for a detached garage located within the rear 40% of the lot. And this project does include a 400 square foot accessory dwelling unit that would be constructed at the rear of the lot. That is not part of this review based upon state law, as all ADU reviews are approved ministerially. The proposed ADU does comply with the city's applicable regulations. This project was first before the Planning Commission on April 13th. The commission had several comments and suggestions about the project and continued it to an action item. The applicant submitted revised plans dated May 4th, 2026 to address the changes suggested by the Planning Commission. In your staff report, you will find a summary of the commission's comments, as well as a summary of the changes made to the project since this was before the commission. The project does meet the applicable development standards, except for the special permit that's being requested, and suggested findings for a major design review and a special permit have been provided for you in the resolutions attached to the staff report, along with 16 conditions of approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for staff?
No.
Okay. I will open the public hearing. Would the applicant please come forward and state your name and anything else you'd like to add about your project?
I believe we have someone online that is speaking for the project.
Okay.
So I just promoted them.
All right.
Hello, my name is Gary Benarucci, and we are the neighbors behind Mr. Liu's house.
Right.
And we noticed how huge it was going to
I apologize. I might have misspoken. We need to hear from the applicant first, and then we can hear for
Oh.
public comment.
Oh,
I apologize for not making that clear. Okay. This is the applicant. Okay.
I think you're muted, Colin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, my name is Colin. I'm the applicant. As mentioned, this project was proposed in April, and I've since addressed most of the comments by the Planning Commission and increased the quality of the renderings to communicate the design better. And if there's any other design issues, I'm open to addressing them. But that's all.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
Commissioner Shores, I do have one. I remember last time we spoke about you had the, I guess the main pillar there in the front or column
Mhm.
is kind of in the middle. So some of us commented about moving it to the edge so it looked like it was actually holding weight. So that's great. But now it looks as if there's, for me, and the olive tree is kind of in the way, but it appears to me, did you consider a column closer to the entrance of the left-hand side of the stair so that you'd have two, so it looked like it was really holding the weight?
I did not know that was an issue, but if that's a requested change, I could consider it. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, for now, it was just a question. And thank you. I think that was all I had.
Okay. Any other questions?
There was a comment last time about the hardy board siding not being able to be mitered in the corners, but you've said that you will miter it. Are you still using hardy?
Yes, I'm still planning to use hardy. My understanding was that the commissioner said the corner trims were not high quality, so I thought the intention was to actually request to have the mitered corners.
I think
But
the
yeah.
comment was that you weren't showing the corner boards.
Okay.
That you would have difficulty with the hardy product mitering the corner. Is that? I think that was Sean or.
Hardy's not really that easy to miter.
Mhm.
So I would prefer it to look like what you've drawn here, and it looks great. But I'm a realist on that too, that the Hardy board is a good material. It's just hard to make the corners work.
Right. They do provide a material for the corners to look mitered. I've also seen examples of it mitered really nicely, so it is possible in my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
But again, I'm open to having the corner trims or miter still. But my understanding was that the miter was preferred, so I went with that. In the
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much for, let's see. So we're now going to open the public hearing. Let's see. Do we have any members of public attending in person who wish to speak on this item? I know we've got at least one couple. Please note that speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Gary Benarucci and my wife Denise. Is it possible to show us the back view of the house?
We had met with Mr. Yu after the last planning commission meeting, and he had stated that he was willing to remove the ADU clear story window facing our living space and from the back of our, in the
Let's see.
back of our home. And he also mentioned that he was going to frost the lower half of the bedroom, the bathroom
bathroom.
windows. And was willing, he came over, he saw the whole backyard, he saw our inside, our
He
outside.
gave a tour of our yard, so the point of view from our yard to his view of the windows was gonna be like, we're gonna lose our privacy.
Directly into our living space, inside, outside. And he had mentioned, we both agree, we want to be really good neighbors and want to concur with each other and have a good relationship and willing to work with each other. He had mentioned with the master bedroom window that we are welcome to go over and see, because we still, I still feel it looks directly into our bedroom window and our entire backyard living space and the inside of the house. And he said that if you do feel, when you come over as I'm building, if you feel that you still see, he would be willing to make an alteration and hire it. So I just wanted to see the back of how it looked, and we didn't get a view of
Well,
anything other than the
Right there
front.
is to the left is the bathroom window and to the right is the bedroom window. So he was gonna frost the windows in the bathroom, the left top. And on the right, we're gonna go in there when it's kind of built, maybe 3/4 done, and look out the window to see his point of view. And it would be easier that way to see, so maybe he can make a correction at that point and make it better for us that you won't be able to see in our backyard, so that's where we're at right now. And he agreed to work with us on this situation.
Yeah, it was very cordial. It was really nice meeting him. I do notice that he did remove the clear story. Thank you, Mr. Collin, you. I know about one tree, well, I guess that's here nor there, that's later. Because
And-
trees could always be pruned or whatever, but yeah, we just wanted to bring that to surface.
One other thing, there's a fence to the left that is built maybe about 8 feet tall. He was gonna carry the fence over all the way through the back. So that might be helpful in some way.
Okay,
And those are noted on the plans.
they are.
Yes. The frosting and all the other things that you were
Thank-
talking about.
Oh,
It's got-
awesome.
Yeah, we just didn't hear.
Oh, we're on the
Yeah.
same page.
Great. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Okay, excellent. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Yu.
Okay. Let's see. Any other members of the public attending in person who wish to speak on this item? Okay, I will close the public hearing. Commissioners, comments?
I think the applicant has made a huge improvement in this submittal versus the last. I think the renderings and the drawings are communicating the details that we were looking for. Even the simple ones as the gutters and downspouts, because it shows that he's thought it through. And so, I would like the garage roof to be a little different, but all in all, I think we're still getting a good product and a good product that is facing out to the public. And I appreciate that, that the applicant has worked with the neighbors behind to try and mitigate the visibility issues.
Yeah, I agree. I think the applicant was very responsive to our comments and I think addressed almost all of them to my satisfaction. I like the new landscaping in the front that hides some of that stacked stone, which was previously fully exposed at the front, and I didn't think that would look very good. So yeah, I can support this project as submitted.
May I just see the front of the actual drawing rather than the rendering from the front? Yeah, so I agree with all of you. I still think it needs that pillar closer to the door. I think it looks missing to me.
As somebody who had one,
Yeah.
I wouldn't miss it. This makes a much more open porch feel, whereas putting
Mm.
in that additional column it narrows the entry down.
Mm.
In the end, I didn't like it on mine that much.
Okay. So if I'm alone, then I'm alone. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, I make a motion that we approve this project per the conditions of the resolution, including the special permit for the garage in the front or in the rear 40.
Oh, you want me to second it? Okay.
Somebody-
Okay.
who was the second? Okay, just checking. Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Schmidt, seconded by Commissioner Haran. Any comments on the motion? Okay, may we please have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schmidt.
Aye.
Chair Shores.
Aye. Okay. Motion passes 4-0-0-0.
400, oh, sorry, 4001
That's right. Thank you.
with Commissioner Lowenthal absent.
Thank you. All right. Item 7B, major design review and special permit for 1150 Vancouver Avenue. If you are the applicant and are attending the meeting via Zoom, please raise your hand so that we may be prepared for you to speak at the appropriate time. If possible, we also ask that you turn on your video at that time. Are any commissioners not able to visit the project site, or do any commissioners wish to note any ex parte communication regarding this project? Okay. Let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the project site. Can we hear the staff report, please?
Yes, thank you. This is an application for major design review and a special permit at 1150 Vancouver Avenue, R1. This is an interior lot with an existing one-story single-unit dwelling and detached single-car garage, and the applicant is proposing to demolish all the structures on site and construct a new 3,014 square foot, two-story single-unit dwelling with an attached two-car garage. This project requires major design review, and the applicant is requesting a special permit for the proposed attached two-car garage. 644 square foot accessory dwelling unit would also be constructed on the second floor of the main dwelling. However, this is not part of the Planning Commission review. Based on city law, reviews are ministerial for accessory dwelling units that comply with applicable regulations, which this one does. This project was last before the Planning Commission on April 27th, 2026, and the Planning Commission had several suggestions regarding this project and voted to continue it to an action hearing. The applicant has submitted revised plans, date stamped May 7th, to address the commission's comments, and staff report includes a summary of those comments as well as the changes the applicant has made to the plans. Staff does note there are no suggested changes recommended to the Planning Commission to consider at this time. Staff has worked closely with the applicant to refine the plans to their current form and also recommended the applicant have a designer or other project professional attend this hearing to respond to any technical questions the commission may have this evening. Staff notes that any revisions to a design approved by the commission are required to be reviewed and approved either by planning staff or the Planning Commission as a separate amendment application. Staff has provided suggested findings for you in the attached resolutions for the major design review and the special permit, along with 15 recommended conditions of approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for staff?
We were going to see samples at the meeting. Is that perfect? Okay.
I think he has, I'm seeing some in the audience.
Great. Okay. No questions for staff, and I will open the public hearing. Would the applicant please come forward and state your name and anything else you'd like to add about the project?
All right, good evening. My name is Jason Guo. I represent the owner.
Thank you.
For now. All right. Okay. Okay, as we have done previously, we specifically addressed hopefully all of the concerns that was raised last time. I'll try to go through them one by one real quick. By the way, I do need to note, one thing is that our designer Samuel should be on Zoom call and he can join in if needed. And also, I was told that because we have been working tirelessly with the staff to revise this back and forth, so if there's small differences between the plan that you're looking at and the final one that I'm hopefully we'll be able to discover those differences. Okay, so the material under the rear covered deck, as we can see in A6-1, that has been confirmed that it's going to be the same material as the deck, which will be a composite wood material, as I've shown one of the samples. And we also confirmed that it can be mitered at corners. Basically, that would be the, well, I guess it's not on this rendering on the screen here, but it's on the back side. It's the area that's under the patio or the seating on top of the patio. And kitchen venting, the A10-2, I think we have shown the updated kitchen venting, which by the way, a lot of the pages, you can see the original elevation, which would be the last version that's on the hearing, and also the updated version. So again, if you look at the A10-2, the kitchen range hood venting has been updated to be on the side elevation with a side venting, and as visible here on the rendering. And the right side kitchen window, yeah, this was raised last time. So basically, this is a casement window. Whether that would block the entrance to the ADO entrance, if we look at L1-1, yes, I believe if you look at it, there is a sidewalk that's next to the side fence. And there is a strip of, I believe, grass landscaping area. So basically, you're not walking next to the wall of the building on your left side. There is still a gap. So we believe that that gap should ensure the opening of the casement window without interrupting with the passage of people. So that one has been remains the same. And the foundation vents, we've added foundation vents to the side elevation as shown on A6-1, A6-2, those elevation pages. And also there is the foundation vent calculation on page A4. We believe the idea is that we will try to use vapor barrier for the cross space section to reduce the amount of cross space vents that's required. But those are shown on the elevation. And the front door material, that one has been updated on A6-1. And if we may look at that, it's been updated based on the suggestion and request. It has been updated to painted wood, pre-hang 2-inch door slab with 6-inch insulation jamb. So that one has been updated. Last time there were some X's on the floor plan. Those were actually closet spaces, but those were not clearly marked. And this time we have updated those. On A4, I believe. Yes, on A4. If you look at from the door next to the stairs coming in from the garage, you can see there's a closet clearly marked over there. And then the family room, there's another closet. And also, we have provided some renderings for interior. If you look at A10-3, those are some interior renderings. And you could see, let's say, on the one, number 2, on the upper right corner, you can see there is we're actually going to build out that space into I can't remember the terminology of that, but basically it's not a cabinet, but basically our designer has experience with this type of full house customization cabinet. We're going to build out that little area into there's some storage on the top, on the side, but also there's a area that you can sit to get your shoes on and stuff like that, and some hangers for your coats. And also, basically there are some other areas with closet that can be shown, can be seen on the renderings. And of course, the renderings is also for better explaining the idea about the floating stairs, which was raised last time. But anyway, let me see. Master bath. Yes. So master bath, the shower section was not clearly marked last time, and this time we've corrected that. If we look at A5, yes, A5, if we look at the master bath, there is, well, at least on my printed version, it's not, the lines are a little light, but you can see there is a shower section before entering the bathtub, and also there is a linear drain on the floor. So I believe this is a curbless drain design. It's basically a combination, like an area with a combination of a freestanding tub and a curbless shower with a linear drain. So that's that. And let me see. Yes, access to second floor bedroom number 2 and number 3. If we check A5 again, the doors to enter those 2 bedrooms have been updated because last time it was raised and suggested that it might be difficult for furniture to be moved in, and those have been repositioned to correct that. And if we keep going, the roof forms. We actually made a substantial update to the roof forms last time, but I think it was still suggested that it was still a little bit too much complicated, so we actually simplified the roof design even more. So if we look at A6-2, well, I'm trying to show which one would show better on the roof design. Okay, let me see, A8, maybe the rendering would show it better. Yes, so A8 is actually the proposed roof plan, but for better contrast, if we look at the, if we look at the A10-1, the renderings on the top, if we look at the left side, which is the current proposed, and the right side, which would be the last version, you could see that on the upper right corner on second floor, it has been basically simplified with less changing surfaces. But of course, the more detailed information would be on the actual roof plan drawings. And metal siding, yes. So this is a point that we discussed. And as you can see from the samples with you, that's the type of aluminum siding that we are going to use. Yes, I think Chairman Shores is having that one is the, well, let me see. How do you call that? Corrugated? Basically the darker material at the front of the siding. And also the majority of it would be the thicker aluminum panel. And these are made in America. At least the manufacturer, the supplier that we're looking for, which our designer and contractor has experience with. And why we choose that, I'm actually borrowing what's shown on their website. So it has the real wood aesthetics, long-lasting durability, and it's definitely code compliance for the building external cladding. And also the very, very strong fire safety because this is non-combustible and zero maintenance. And it's backed by a 25-year warranty from the manufacturer. And it's actually pretty versatile and easy for installation. And I think there are additional details provided For example, on A6-1, well, it's actually on A6-2. You can see some of the actual pictures, and there are some details with how, different corners and, there are corner trims, inside corner, outside corner, J trims, different trims. It comes in as a package. So it's actually pretty easy to install. And by the way, these materials are actually pretty high-end expensive. For example, I think we did a little bit of research. For traditional board and batten, the hardy board, let's say per square feet, the hardy board material price would be maybe about $2 or even a little bit less than that. But for this particular type of material, the material cost is $27 per square feet. So we're actually trying to use this type of high-end siding that is durable and good looking, at least to us. So yeah, I mean, if you have additional questions on the samples, I'd be happy to answer those. Oh, by the way, I think I mentioned that. It's a composite WPC wood board. That's for the deck and also for the area under, on top of that patio. Okay, and the revised window size locations ensure plans match. I think those have been updated. There might be some misalignment last time. Pop windows, yes, the pop windows on the back, we removed them just to, make sure that we don't cause any disagreement with the design. As you can see from A10-2 should be the rendering. Yes, you can see A10-2, if you look at the rendering, on the left side, it's the lower side, it's the new proposed design, which actually removed those pop windows. And let me see some other items here. We need too small for me, but different labeling. Okay, so
Through the chair, if I may, I think all the items that the applicant is covering is in the staff report. So I think you've covered most of them. If you have any questions for the applicant, you can certainly ask about that. Otherwise, you can go into your comment period.
Sure.
yes.
Unless there's anything urgent you wanted to get across, we can.
No, just last thing, I think it's regarding the stairs, the floating stairs. Again, we've attached different renderings from outside, from inside, and hopefully at least that clearly shows where we want the designs to be. So just want to add that, but yes, thank you.
Awesome. Right. Any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, it's still, the roof over the family room,
Yes.
that's taking on quite a bit of area of rainfall from your other roofs that surround it. And I'm seeing one gutter on the elevation coming down. And that whole thing goes into a V where it's gonna wanna sit.
So on top of the family room, give me a second here.
So if I were looking on the roof plan, I would expect to see a triangle in that inside corner
Oh, yes,
to push water away and towards your,
to the outside. Yes. Yeah, I believe the thing called a cricket,
Mhm.
right? The cricket, yeah, I think the cricket would be built to accommodate that.
you're gonna need it and you're gonna need to size up that downspout too, because a lot of your roof is draining to that
Yes,
spot.
yes, understand. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. Let's see. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Do we have any members of the public attending in person who would like to speak on this item? Please note that speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Okay. I will close the public hearing. Comments?
Let's go.
I can go. Yeah, so I appreciate the response to many of our comments. I think it's still a bold choice to go with this aluminum product. Structurally, it's much more rigid than I had expected, so I have no problem with that. It's just a lot of faux wood covering the entire house, so I'd probably be more comfortable if this was a solid color rather than a wood grain, faux wood grain, but that won't prevent me from voting for the project. Yes, and then the finishes, that thin stacked veneer, just really it's a big prominent section, and those can look cheap. So I think really paying attention to installation quality there will be important.
Well, I'm going to go. I appreciate, I really appreciate the applicant's sort of attention to what we've brought up before and addressing at least most of them. I don't know anything about these, any coverings at all, but I was just curious, is that like a film of some sort that's applied to the aluminum? And, or is it like in an enamel? Is it baked on? I just wondered what happens then if it's scratched, or I guess that can happen with anything, but it was just curiosity question. What do you do when they get bashed up? So anyway, I don't know if we can address things like that, but I was just curious. And I definitely appreciate the elimination of the backside, the window boxes on the backside. It was just kind of, if you want to make a design statement, it's more effective if you don't have them all over, and it's best, I think you chose the front, and so that was a good decision. So I'm fine with this, actually. I think he's gone above and beyond what he needed. So
Okay, I'll go. Yes, I appreciate the interior drawings that were added. That helps communicate a lot of things. And the side-by-side format was helpful too in being able to see, because there are changes that we were looking for. So I thought that you did a good job in trying to answer our stuff. I'm still concerned. I don't really support the aluminum siding at all. I think that it doesn't go with our neighborhood in that area. And really, given that it's right across the street from a school, it's not going to be hidden at all. And I think that to me, I still think it's going to come off looking cheap. And we've had a few of those lately where projects aren't coming before the planning commission and materials are being chosen that are not very reflective of our neighborhoods, and it's starting to show. I think that I know that you were looking at the windows, but you've got the side window by the ADU entrance. At that height, my child could hit their head on that corner of that window and poke their eye out. And then on the rear side, you've got an awning window that projects out over, it pops out over the deck, same thing. Somebody could walk right into it and get hurt. So I think it's a danger. I wouldn't do it. It's a liability. I still think that the window over the family room that creates that clear story, I'm still not sure how you're going to frame all of that and make that work. It's a really wide window, and it seemed to me to need a big header in order to support the rafters for that family room. I think that you need to look hard at that stair on the inside. I don't know that the angled landing treads is actually legal the way it's drawn. You're gonna have to do some work on that, and then structurally to support it with a open, I an open riser solution like that, it's going to take some shop drawings, that's for sure. So I just don't think it's in character with what we're doing and what we're looking for in that neighborhood. So I'm not inclined to support the material choice at this time. But I do appreciate the effort being put in and the attempts to work with staff and to try and come up with solutions. But I just don't think I see that this material is one that should be in our palette. Thanks.
Any additional comments? I'll just briefly say, I feel better now that I've seen the material. I like some of what we've seen better. I like the one you've got there that has got a little bit of actual texture to it, but I'm also, this is something I would definitely need to see on a building before I could really see how it holds up. And I do also think that it would still stand out being a wood grain texture as opposed to a painted wood, which is normally how you see wood being used in a lot of houses on that street. I definitely would say, I guess I'm neutral overall. I don't think I can quite support it, but I could see it working out well, depending. Do we have any further discussions, comments?
Well, I'm just curious if it's the wood grain. I know that you aren't necessarily of that mind, but if it's the wood grain, if it's the wood grain that is kind of a scary thought, like how could that look? That I understand that. Does it come in a one color solution, or it just comes like that? That's
Well, I think that if it was a one color with this exact same cladding layout, it would just immediately look like a painted aluminum because of the
I see.
like the corrugated nature of it. I think that it looks better now because it has the wood grain, but it would
okay.
look more obviously like a metal. I'm not sure if y'all have actually seen this used and can comment better on that. But
Well, can I say something?
of course.
I mean, I prefer wood, but anyway, there was a time when, and it wasn't that long ago, 10 years ago, when this body, and I was not on it, frowned upon hardy board. And I remember a lot of discussion about hardy board. And I remember a lot of discussion about fiberglass windows and doors. And so I don't know.
Mhm.
And now that's the hardy boards. I don't necessarily think it's great, but it's used all the time. So I just don't know. To me, is this going to be the next big thing? Aluminum? I just don't know enough about industrial building things.
I would feel a lot better about the flame retardant properties if this was closer up in the hillside. I would consider that a major plus, definitely. We're not exactly way up there, so
It's got good other uses.
sure.
And, if we were out, in a farm property or something like that, I could see that. It has good marine uses. If you're doing a houseboat, it's great material for that. But it does not bring the warmth of character that we look for in these neighborhoods. And I think it doesn't, whether it's a good material or not, it just doesn't fit to me within the context of the homes in that area. And that's part of what I think we're striving for.
Are we thinking of a motion to bring back with different
Okay.
cladding or?
Up to you. I mean, I'm not supportive of this material, but if you guys
I think
are supportive,
I think you have a strong point, and I can't say I disagree for sure. I think it's not something I've seen on a house in Burlingame like this, so I would be hesitant to, make this the first one perhaps, but
Should you reopen the public hearing and see if
oh,
the applicant is open to a change?
that's a great idea. Okay, we'll go ahead and reopen the public hearing real quick. If the applicant could come forward again, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's very helpful information. I'll just answer first. I think we're open to change the material. It's just that like some technical response basically. Those wooden grain, they're not painted on. Those I think they use. I was trying to look up the terminology. They use a special thermal type of baked in type of thing. So basically, it's not just on the surface. You draw some wood grain. It's baked in, so it's there's a depth to it. So I think the durability. As I mentioned, the pricing of it, I do consider that those should not be a concern, at least on the durability side. With regard to the the fitness to the neighborhood, I understand that is the main purpose of the commission, and we really appreciate that. And as you can see, that we try to work with you on almost everything. So I think we're open to replace it. It's just we just wanted to. As you can tell from the first version to the second to the third, of course we try to fit in the neighborhood, but we also wanted to try a little bit of inspirational architectural thing instead of the same thing. For example, the last project, it looks beautiful, but it's more of the same, which we would understand. It's easy to get approved because it does fit in, which is a big point. So what we're trying to do is we wanted to bring in a little bit of modern architectural design. Like if you go see in Palo Alto and Los Altos, they have very modern homes. So but again, we're not say, oh, we have to have that. No, like we're trying to tamp it down a little bit and try to work with the commission to find a middle ground to see, oh, let's say the floating stairs, pop-up windows look like eyes, some commissioners commented. But basically, we're trying something bold a little bit. And I certainly understand and agree with Commissioner Schmidt regarding that's something new. Like, do we really want to try that in front of the elementary? I think I really understand that concern. I don't know, like, and another concern, if I may, is that, of course, we wanted to move forward with the project, because we purchased the property a year and a half ago. So we really wanted to have some motion on the project. So if somehow there is a structure or some type of motion which would allow us to move forward, and we are open to your final decision on whether we use the aluminum material and give it a try, because as I said, it should be high-end, fireproof, good material, or if we are requested to replace it with more traditional material, I think we're open to change it. But again, if somehow we could have a motion or action so that we can at least start moving to the building phase to get the project going, we'd really appreciate that as well. So if I may say, the decision is up to the commission. If you approve, we'll try this material. We'll try to do a good job, and hopefully we'll show everyone. If not, we also understand, that's a valid concern, and we need to fit in the neighborhood. So, I think we'll leave the decision to you if that's okay.
Thank you very much. That's a very helpful explanation on your part, I think.
Can I just ask
Yes.
just to clarify?
Yes.
And you want modern, and you clearly have that from your design.
Yes.
So is your interest, in addition to that, is it really the maintenance? We don't really have, at least not yet, a fire issue in that neighborhood.
Right.
So is it really the maintenance?
Yes, that's the maintenance and the fire. Of course, we're dealing with fire. Of course, this is not up the hills, but when we see something that's easy to maintain, high end, like subjectively, I mean, we like the look of it, and with the thermal baked in coloring. But fire is actually one of our technical reasons to choose that much more expensive material is, maintenance free, and we don't have to worry about fire with traditional material. So that is one of the reasons. Yeah. Thank you.
Other question, the applicant? Okay.
You can ask for public comment as well.
Right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, any further public comment? Anyone attending in person who would like to speak on this item who did not before? Okay, I will close the public hearing. Okay, so I think it speaks to the intent for a modern design that I didn't hear a lot of feedback on the face of the house tonight, stuff like that. So I think the holdup, the one, if I were to pick one, would be cladding. So do we feel comfortable maybe making a motion to, would it be approved with changing the cladding, or would that be, that sounds like a kind of a major thing to put in a condition of approval?
I could jump in with a recommendation. If the intent is to move the application forward and make a decision tonight, I would recommend doing so with an added condition with a specific material choice that the commission would be comfortable for the aluminum to be switched to, whether it be hardy board, stucco, whatever the material would be. With that specific material called out to be confirmed and reviewed by planning staff during the building permit review process.
That sounds good.
A question, what about the dark colored sections, which is a different profile? It's, right, it's almost like just vertical battens. Are you okay with those being in aluminum?
Choose that one.
Okay, so those would stay aluminum. It would be,
It was just really it was the wood grain that I thought wasn't gonna.
right.
Right, which is the majority,
Right.
Yes, of course.
right, okay.
Yeah, and I'm,
An accent piece in the other areas.
right.
Yeah, I agree.
I do like, I mean, the massing is already modern. I think you know, it is a house that does not look like a cookie cutter house, which I think is a good thing. We want variety. You were already willing to pay a premium for this aluminum product. So I would put in a pitch for vertical clear cedar, or, you know, a real product, not a hardy board, and not board and batten. But so a similar design aesthetic as this, but in real wood.
Is that something we would exclusively be wanting them to consider, or would stucco also be considered? Or, I mean, primarily we'd want them to, we're just talking about a real version of what they're already aesthetically. Right?
I think if that's the aesthetic that we're going after, then that would be the easiest. I was thinking stucco, but then it changes significantly the look of the house, right?
Yeah, I think this,
But it wouldn't change,
yeah.
wouldn't change the shape, it wouldn't change the.
No.
paint. Probably some minor changes to window treatments.
Mhm.
But I think we've worked out sizes of things and placement
Mhm.
that aren't too problematic.
I don't know. I think if this were stucco, I think the whole thing flattens out a lot for me. But it's a lot of mass in the front, and I think it lives from what looks like, at least in the rendering, a natural product, kind of warm, has a warmth to it, and stucco's not warm. So, so I'm fine with the wood idea, but he was mentioning maintenance, so that's why he picked it. So I don't know, I'm not familiar enough with products to know what is wood-like and not aluminum, but good maintenance. I don't know what's on our rec center, for example. That one scared me a lot, on our recreation center, which that was obviously approved somehow. So
Mhm.
I don't think that's real wood.
Anyone want to take a stab at a motion?
There's a product called Luna Wood that you can take a look at, LUNAWOOD. It seems like a similar profile to your aluminum, but it's actually real wood. It's white ash, so.
That's interesting.
Nothing special about. There's no special permits on this, right?
There is. Let's see.
The garage.
There is
I
a
believe-
special permit for the attached garage.
Front,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I make a motion. We approve this project with the condition of a change to a natural wood product that could be verified by staff during the permitting process, and including the special permit for the attached garage.
Did you want to add that the front roof line needs a cricket added to it, or is that just up to them? That's fine. And then maybe the natural wood product, I think we're okay with it matching the current aesthetic. So not a, maybe this is more for planning staff. That if the new product is a completely different aesthetic, then it's probably not our intent
Right.
to
And I
delegate
think
that.
need to come back.
Right.
And that's for the findings in the resolution, correct?
Those things aren't in the resolution yet, are they?
Well, no, the special permit.
Yes, per the resolution.
All right, I know it's against the rule, but
Oh, we have to open the,
One sec. Okay, yeah. We'll briefly, real quick, open the,
I mean, I'm just saying like WPC, would that be an acceptable material?
I think we're probably sticking for just natural, right?
Like you have samples over there, that's another. one?
yeah, I wouldn't cover an entire house in a composite.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
any, did we get that? Is that a workable?
Good enough?
Yes, and that is a natural wood product, not a fiber cement product.
Correct.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yep, we got it.
Okay. I have a motion from Commissioner Schmidt. Do I have a second?
A second.
All right. And a second from Commissioner Pfaff. A roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schmidt,
Aye.
Chair Shores.
Aye. Motion is passed 4001.
And we need to read the appeal rights as well. The appeal rights.
Right, thank you. An action by the Planning Commission is appealable to the City Council within 10 days of the Planning Commission's action. If the Planning Commission's action has not been appealed or called up for review by the City Council by 5 p.m. on the 10th day, the action is final. In order to be effective, appeals must be in writing and must be accompanied by an appeal fee of $924, which includes noticing costs. Thank you, congratulations. Okay. And action item 7C, major design review, state density bonus, and vesting tentative parcel map at 2, 12, and 16 Park Road.
Thank you. This is an application for a major design review, state density bonus, tentative map, and a parcel map for 2, 12, 16 Park Road. This is zoned Bayswater mixed use and R4, and the site is within our downtown specific plan area. Site is located at the northeast corner of Park Road and Peninsula Avenue at the El Camino Real Junction. The site currently is comprised of 4 parcels. 2 Park Road currently contains a 2-story funeral home, and 16 Park Road, that includes 12 Park Road, is a 2-story fitness use commercial building. Both of these are proposed to be demolished, and the applicant would combine the 4 parcels. The proposed project is to construct a 7-story, 144 multi-unit residential building with 12 below market rate units, 6 very low and 6 moderate income units, with 2 levels of above grade parking with 140 parking spaces. The overall height would be approximately 84 feet to the top of the parapet. The parking requirement set forth in the zoning code is based upon the number of bedrooms proposed per unit. Given the proposed unit count, a total of 173 parking spaces are required per code. The applicant has submitted a request to utilize AB 2097, and this is a state law that prohibits cities from imposing minimum parking requirements on projects located within a half-mile of public transit. The project includes 140 parking spaces, and since the subject property is within a half-mile of the Burlingame Caltrain station, the project qualifies for AB 2097. This does not require a parking variance, and there's no requirement to use the state density bonus waiver for the parking in this case. The project does include undergrounding the overhead utilities along Park Road. Given the utility relocation, the project includes new planting of 9 24-inch box magnolia trees along Park Road with another 3 along Peninsula, and at the rear, the applicant is proposing 18 24-inch sweet bay trees. The application was filed under SB 330. This is a preliminary application that came in May 8th, 2025. SB 330 created a preliminary application process for housing projects. intended to streamline the approval process. It also freezes the development standards and fees that are in effect at the time that this preliminary application is filed. In addition, the applicant filed the formal application to include exercising AB 130. AB 130 is a new state law that does exempt qualifying housing infill projects from environmental review under CEQA. Unlike some of the other CEQA exemptions that do require certain technical reports, when utilizing AB 130, the only requirement is for notification to the California Native American tribes within a very specific timeline. AB 130 also did amend the Permit Streamlining Act that requires local governments to comply with specific time limits for processing development housing applications. Staff has determined that the proposal meets the qualifications of AB 130. And during the time for review, there were 2 tribes that the city met with for consultation. And conditions of approval have been added to the resolution before you this evening that resulted from those consultations. The application includes a state density bonus with a proposal for 144 units. State density bonus law does allow a 20% density bonus with projects that include 5% very low below market rate units. The subject property, however, is within our downtown specific plan area, as I noted, and in the specific plan, we do not have dwelling unit densities. The state law does speak to this situation, and pursuant to state law for sites such as this one, a base density is derived by determining the maximum number of units that could be accommodated on the subject site with a hypothetical housing project that would comply with development standards for that zoning district. This requires that the average unit size for these hypothetical projects is at least as large as the average unit size for the proposed project. The applicant has included a base density study. It was included in the plans that were provided to you, and it was evaluated by staff. It assumes 120 dwelling units per acre, and given that 5% of the BMR units will be offered for very low income, the project qualified for a 20% density bonus. That was an additional 24 units, bringing us to the 144. State density bonus law also allows applicant to request waivers from required zoning development standards. The applicant is requesting state density bonus waivers for the proposed developments or the following development standards. Height, it's 84 feet 2 inches, where 55 is the maximum allowed. And as a comparison, 150 Park Road down the street at the Village is 5 stories, approximately 60 feet tall. 110 Park Road at the northeast corner of Park and Bayswater is 6 stories, approximately 70 feet tall. And 220 Park Road, the post office project, is 6 stories and approximately 98 feet tall, just for comparison. In addition, waivers are requested for front setback, rear setback, and lot coverage. The below market rate units proposed are 10% of the base density. So that would be 5% very low and 5% moderate for a total of 12. The zoning code does require residential impact fees to be paid for rental housing projects more than 10 units to offset the demand for affordable housing. However, in such cases, if at least 10% moderate below market rate units are provided on site, then the need for affordable housing is deemed mitigated. Therefore, this project would not be subject to those fees. Staff has provided recommended findings for you in the draft resolutions we provided this evening, and staff recommends the Planning Commission adopt a resolution approving the major design review application, state density bonus to construct the 7-story, 144 multi-unit residential building as conditioned, and adopt a resolution approving the tentative parcel map to merge the existing 4 parcels as conditioned. Staff would note that since the preparation of your Planning Commission packet, we have received 5 additional public comments that were sent to you as a supplemental package via email today and were posted on the city's website. The applicant's here. I'm sorry that was a little longer than I had hoped, but I'm happy to answer any questions for you. Thank you.
Excellent. Any questions for staff?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, is it the city that is the city planting the magnolia and they're financed by the developer, or the city is doing all the trees?
Generally, that would be part of the development application permit, and it would be under the review of the city, so per city standards. So in conjunction with the Parks Division.
Right, but who is actually, is the city financing that?
No,
Oh.
no, that is all part of the developer's project.
Yeah, I got a question about bike storage regulations. Unless I've missed a section in their area, I only see a small section for maybe 3 bikes. And if I'm not mistaken, I thought it was a lot larger number in the past.
There are 8 long-term bike storage spaces within the building and 2 guest. Because the project is an SB 330 project, it was submitted under the previous building code, which included the parking requirements for bicycles.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I have a brief question. I didn't see explicitly listed here. It looks like on the curb on Peninsula and Park Road that it's keeping the same current footprint that's there. I'm not sure how much, if any, of the developer fees that are coming from this project would go towards local adjacent street improvements like a wider crossing or something like that. I know that this intersection is a very strange intersection that also intersects with El Camino, which is not under our purview, but just curious if there's any additional information on that. As of right now, it looks like it'll have basically the same footprint. It'll just be redone with part of the undergrounding.
That is correct. There are no additional improvements provided on, proposed offsite. However, the city does collect our public facilities impact fees, and those are sectioned into different departments that can go towards citywide projects. But as of right now, there are no offsite improvements like we saw up at the Reverie that were offsite type things. Nothing like that is proposed with this project at this
Right.
time.
So those fees could go to intersection improvement anywhere in the city. It's like a large pool, lots of developers put in.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions for staff? Okay. Let's see. I will open the public hearing. Would the applicant please come forward, state your name and anything else you'd like to add about your project?
We're going to do the presentation. Thank you. Good evening, planning commissioners. My name is Austin Osuch with Windy Hill Property Ventures. Thank you for being here this evening to review our project at 2 Park Road. I want to first off say thank you for being here, but also thank Catherine and Nada for all the hard work. It's been over a year working on this project, and we're excited to get to this point. I'm here tonight with my 2 business partners, Jamie D'Alessandro and Todd Speaker, along with Lisa Ring, our entitlement consultant, and Ian and Jack from BDE Architecture, the architect on file. Windy Hill Property Ventures is a Bay Area focused investment firm. We do no projects outside of the Bay Area. Our name stems from the Windy Hill Preserve. What you see in Portola Valley, what you see from that Windy Hill Preserve is essentially our sandbox, and that's the only place we invest and develop. We're hyper-focused on downtown, high amenity, high walk score locations, and we feel that is the best place suited for density and growth. The great thing about the Bay Area is the nature preserves like the Windy Hill Preserve, and our goal is to be thoughtful developers and focus on urban transit-oriented sites where we can add housing. We're probably the most active developers in the city of San Mateo. We've also developed housing in Belmont, Palo Alto, an office and mixed-use project in Redwood City, and an office project in San Carlos. Developing in these locations is very challenging, and our outlook is to own and operate these long term. You go to the next slide. The project site is at the northeast corner of Peninsula Avenue and Park Road. It has a very, as mentioned, it's the Crosby and Gray mortuary site, along with a gym and an office. And the site sits on approximately a 1-acre site. The proposed project is 144 units, mix of studio, 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. It's a 5/2 construction, 5 stories of wood frame over 2-story concrete podium. It has 2 garage entries, one along Peninsula and one along Park Road, and a 17-foot rear setback with landscaping that allows for fire access. It's a contemporary design with high quality and traditional materials and earth tone colors. The project amenities include outdoor landscaping, courtyard, pedestrian amenities, including street trees. The project includes 10% BMR units. Burlingame's requirement is 10% moderate. We are deepening the affordability of these units to 5% very low and 5% at moderate. The project has a mix of unit sizes to accommodate families, couples, and single occupants. Due to the project location and residential nature, there is no VMT impacts associated with the project. We have also completed and done a robust TDM plan. Substantial streetscape improvements include wider sidewalks, street trees, street furniture, and pedestrian scale lighting. The project, I had a typo here, the project includes 140 parking stalls, including EV stalls, although no parking is required per AB 2097. This is the view of the lobby from Park and the corner of the building from Park Road and Peninsula Avenue. This is the view along Park Road, looking at the lobby, a little bit more refined rendering. This is the view of the corner balconies, including the Sky Lounge, outdoor area for amenity space. And this is a full-scale view of the corner of Park Road and Peninsula Avenue. This is the site plan with the ground level. Along Peninsula, you could see one of the driveways, and then along Park, north end of the project, you can see the other driveway that goes up to the second floor. The blue shaded area includes our lobby and our package room and mail and a lounge. This is the second floor that includes parking and residential. You could see on the left the ramp going up to the second floor. The rest is residential. This is the third floor that includes residential and amenity space, including a fitness center, a lounge, a spa, as well as a pool, an outdoor. The gym flows to an outdoor kind of gym area outside. And then on the far north end of the project, that's an outdoor garden with no access for our residents, but just green space. This is the stacking plan for floors 4 through 7, and it's all residential. Last, I just want to say thank you, staff and commissioners. We've been doing projects in San Mateo County for a while, and we've been looking for a site in Burlingame to do. And we're really excited to bring this one to fruition. And we hope that we can motion for it to get approved this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for the applicant?
Yeah. Okay. I got questions. The rear elevation, the podium level, the elevation shows a straight flush face, and in the rendering on 57, there's a little peak of what looks to be a slightly recessed colonnade that could potentially have vines in it, which would be far more attractive than the flat rear elevation.
I'm going to ask my architect to speak to that, but he's here, so you're in luck.
Hi, Ian Murphy with BDE Architecture. Thank you again for hearing a project tonight. Late in the process of the coordination, we worked with the fire department on a AMP to provide additional protection along the back access along that property line. And one of the requests as part of that AMP process was to close those openings and create a 2-hour protected area for fire personnel. We could certainly treat that area with some planting or additional adornment, but that's why there's a discrepancy there.
Okay. I mean, I'm maybe it's just small. I understand the need for the protection and all of that. Got it. But whether or not it could be a small inset that allows for a change of material or something that because that whole backside becomes, that first 2 floors becomes a big wall to the people behind you.
Totally understood. I think we could look into ways to adorn it with staff and
Mhm.
easily dress it up.
Okay. That wasn't it. And you're the guy.
Okay.
The balconies, is it intended to be clear glass or frosted glass or something?
I'm joined tonight with Jack Katzbach, one of the designers on the project. We'll speak to some of the questions.
The glass on the balconies would not be frosted. The intent would be it's like a clear glazing. There might be some color to the glazing, but not to be frosted.
Okay. Tends to collect junk and be 100% visible on a busy road.
You mean the people's accoutrement?
Yeah. They're nicer than I am.
I think this is more of a management.
There
Yeah.
could be an agreement, I'm sure.
We're pretty tight with our property managers and making sure things are buttoned up. This is going to be a Class A, really nice apartment building, and so we will make sure that our property managers handle that. I don't think there's going to be stuff along busy road.
Okay. Then going to pay, well, this rendering here will do. I need a little bit more about the detailing of the brick veneer as it turns the underside of that pop out. I'm not used to seeing that detail. And then I know it's just a rendering with a material that's been placed on it, but I'm thinking about the downstream, how you're going to detail that. And because it's a corner, you can't really rotate the bricks very well unless you're going to do a miter change there. So I'm just concerned how they interact as they turn from an underside to a vertical.
Yeah, it's one of the benefits of working with a veneer. I think most likely we may switch to a soldier course on the underside so that they could hit the corner in a logical way. But we'd probably add some level of that detailing to the soffit.
Because I mean, I also, I'm a little concerned with that with the windows. Are you going to do it? Are you going to do a brick sill, and are you going to get there's some detailing there that when using brick shows itself in soldier courses and sills that right now you're showing is essentially flat 90s at this point.
It is definitely intended to be a modern aesthetic. So for the most part, we're not going to have as many traditional cast sill elements that you might expect. So there will be simpler transitions. But I think the soffit that you mentioned is a good example where we would add a detail because it's visible from grade, from the pedestrian experience, and easily solvable.
Well, I was just at the post office building that we've got, and they've got a lot of brick face, and they have undersides too. They didn't take the veneer underneath. They just did a stucco soffit and just did the thin brick and finished the detail.
Another way to do it.
I just wasn't, those are the things that we are concerned about. And there's only so many things we can, get concerned about on a project of this size. So those details are the things that I was kind of looking for. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I wanted to further on my colleague's comments. So you've chosen a number of materials, like a lot. And so I too, modern is one thing, but modern and cheap is another thing. And it is, to me, that is it's a, I guess, what do we call them? An entrance. It's a major property. It's how do we call those?
Gateway.
Thank you. It's a gateway.
Yeah.
Yes, a gateway project. So, it is going to call attention to itself, and it's so large. I think it would really be good to definitely hone in on those details. Modern's great, but modern and cheap is not good. And so I think that's what this body is always concerned about, whether it's, small or large, but gets bigger the project becomes. So you also mentioned that you widen the sidewalks, and I wanted to understand that. What is a sidewalk now? I know that you've cut way back on the setback. So what is the actual sidewalk now, and what are you offering to
I
widen?
don't want to misspeak. I think I know, but I'm just gonna
Okay.
check.
I was also looking for those measurements. I couldn't quite find them.
While they're looking at that up, do you have any other questions for the applicant?
No, it was a similar one about the glass on the glass type on the patio, because not only can it have junk on it, it can also, accoutrement. It can also look really dirty, if it's, especially with all the traffic and everything. So
I will say on that, I think the frosted glass may encourage people to put stuff out
Oh.
there. And then I also will say that it's part of our form leases that we have with tenants. If there is so-called stuff all over the patio, they're going to be in violation of their lease. So just want to point that out.
In terms of what's proposed, it's a total width of 14, as Austin believed it was. So at least 7 of,
14, and what is it now, actually? Just yeah.
we'll look that up.
Sure.
Need a few more minutes.
Yeah. Thank you. And I also wanted to ask if there was some consideration for more, I don't know, vines, maybe not the right word, but some of the similar projects have done, taken lines of, I guess they're wire, they string them in certain areas and have them sort of threaded up so that it has a little warmth, and they are very modern as well. So wanted to know if you'd looked at any of those solutions to kind of,
We
Yeah.
have, Jack, do you want to speak to that? Just vines. Are you saying on the front of the building?
anywhere where there's some relief to
Yeah,
get some
if-
warmth.
Go ahead.
But there's some locations around the building where I think we were talking about on the rear elevation facing the single family neighbor properties where that could be employed as well to just help screen that wall. So I think that same application could be applied to, I guess the north elevation as well that faces the side properties. If there's a desire on behalf of the commission to see that sort of landscaping element on either, Park or Peninsula Road frontages, that same application, that same detail could be applied to those elevations as well. We'd have to study closer where that would make sense, but.
I think that would be quite nice, especially around, maybe the entrance area, that corner, because it is gateway, just to kind of warm it up and, I don't know, give it some roots. So
Understood.
literally.
We have, I don't want to speak too much for the architect, but there is some wood paneling down on the ground floor on kind of, as we call the gateway coming into downtown. So that hopefully that softens it up a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Any additional questions?
The thought of adding more bike storage, it seems like 8 bikes for 144 apartments is not a lot, especially because the parking is below what's recommended. So what's your thought on how, when I lived in an apartment, I brought the bike up the elevator
Say that.
and either stuck it in my room or on the balcony.
Yeah.
So
Well, what we've noticed, we've developed quite a bit of real apartment projects up and down the peninsula. And most people that are using their bikes to get on the train and go to the city or wherever they're going to work are pretty nice bikes. So they don't necessarily want to put them in the bike storage. So we anticipate those bikes are going up the elevators into their rooms.
Any other questions? Okay, I had a few. I'll just stick with one, basically. So it was mentioned the sidewalk width of 14. I'm assuming that is like from the foundation of the building to the curb right now? based off, because and the reason I ask that is because right now, it looks like there's currently like a regular strip of sidewalk, and then there's a long grassy strip where the trees are going. It looks a little bit different on the rendering, which is not always one-to-one, where there's like the full sidewalk concrete goes all the way to the curb, and then there are spots individually for the trees.
Yep.
I'm unsure how wide that actual walking space is going to be. I mentioned that just because when I saw the grass planting strip, this project is actually adding a lot of street parking in that spot. There isn't any room for that right now. So I would anticipate a lot of people stepping on that spot and maybe killing a lot of that grass if it was completely just a regular grass strip to get in and out of cars. I was just going to add that I think that a wide sidewalk here is definitely important. I know that we've increased our minimum sidewalk side citywide in the past couple of years. I'm not sure what it is on this block, but if I can't visualize two parents with those gigantic new strollers passing each other comfortably on that sidewalk, I don't think it's quite wide enough for this specific part of Burlingame where things are starting to become a little bit more urban. So I'm glad to see that the sidewalk is being taken into consideration there. But yeah, I'd be interested to see some kind of treatment in that planting strip. I'm not sure what exactly is planned out right there. I'm not sure if I was looking at the landscape plan or the site plan, but anyway.
I'm going to let Ian talk on that again.
Sure.
Just as a quick update, in the package that we provided to you, we don't have the dimension of the existing sidewalk, but my rough estimation is that it's similar on the park side of the property and much thinner in its existing condition, like closer to 5 or 6 feet on that side. So it's definitely a widening on that side. And once you take into account the planters that are in addition to that for stormwater and such on the building side, the visual appearance is even wider than what's there on the other side as well.
Can I just ask one? Does that though, I'm talking about like sidewalk to sidewalk, are you also calling you go in, I think it's 5 feet into the property line? So are you calling that part of the sidewalk or no?
No.
No, okay.
Okay, from property line to the
To the curb.
planting strip is the 14 feet
Okay.
referencing. And then there are some planters in certain areas in addition to that on the building side.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Okay. We're going to have members of the public attending in person who wish to speak on this item come up in just a moment. We've received a couple of speaker requests, so I'm just going to read these out. Let's see, so the first one was for Andrew Ha. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andrew. I am the State and Regional Resilience Senior Associate at Greenbelt Alliance. We're an environmental and land use organization that works throughout the Bay Area and focus on creating healthy and resilient lands for our communities. A major part of ensuring sufficient environmental protection is also to ensuring sufficient housing in our existing communities. And that is exactly what Two Park Road does. It is why we created a development endorsement program around 5 years ago to support smart land use choices throughout the Bay Area. We've endorsed hundreds of projects, as well as now having over thousands of units developed throughout the Bay Area, from Sausalito all the way down to Gilroy. Our endorsement procedure focuses on 5 main criteria. That's what we call SMART. It's sustainability, mixed use, affordability, resiliency, and transit-oriented, all of which are well reflected at Two Park Road. I'm going to go walk through them a little bit. Sustainability. The project has full electrification, has efficient water and energy usage, has solar readiness, as well as native landscaping that makes for better use of our resources and minimizes the costs for the residents who may be living there in the future. Second, mixed use. While the project itself is not mixed use, it is in an area that is within the downtown plan of Burlingame. It is an area that is easily walkable and accessible to many different restaurants, shops, and other amenities. It is something that we really pride ourselves with in our endorsement, and something that this project really places itself in an area that is accessible to the community. Affordability. It includes 12 affordable units, very low to moderate income. We appreciate that. Next is resiliency, both comparing to the FEMA flood maps as well as the CAL FIRE wildfire risk areas. This project is in neither of those high-risk zones, whether that is flooding or wildfires. And last but not least, and something that the developers have already pointed out, the project is very close to the Caltrain station. That is a 10-minute walk away. It is easily accessible for many people to get out at, I don't know, 8 o'clock in the morning, walk over the Caltrain and take the train to San Francisco to San Jose or anywhere in between. It is incredibly accessible, not to mention the fact that there are also multiple bus lines around the area for people to get around to different parts of Burlingame, if that is their commute. Overall, we believe that Two Park Road is a great new project that will bring many new homes to Burlingame, as well as many new residents who may not otherwise be able to live in this area, and also to reduce the cost of climate change by promoting public transit and the use of walking, biking, or otherwise. We laud Windy Hill Ventures for focusing on infill TOD projects and creating new homes in existing communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the next speaker request form that we have is for Mary Jane Rice. Thank you.
Through the chair, as the speaker comes up, I wanted to remind any of the public that's listening online that we are not accepting remote public comment during during planning commission meetings. So thank you.
Right, and that also every public speaker has 3-minute limit. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. So thank you. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I see it. Thank you very much. Nice building, too big, too big. I'm at 25 Lorton Avenue, right behind the structure. I've got balconies. I've got a 7-unit apartment. That thing goes up, it is going to overshadow the structure of the homes on Lorton Avenue, including ours. We're not going to get no sunlight. We're just going to be seeing this big old concrete building. It just doesn't work for us. And I find it really interesting that nobody bothered to reach out to us. It's like, you do a big plan like this and nobody comes and tells us, hey, we want to work with you. We want to see what we can do, to make this work. It's just too many people. We already have all these buildings that were built. There's so many people. Yeah, it's a great town. It's a great accessibility for transportation, for the train, for everything. It's a great city. But it's going to add to noise. It's going to add to more traffic. That intersection alone, if you don't drive it every day, then you really don't see all of the mishaps that we see on a daily basis. It's not safe. We've got water and sewer issues. Burlingame, I can tell you, for the last 40 years, we've always had problems with our plumbing that goes out to the sewer. And I can't even begin to tell you how many times I have to call Roto-Rooter to come and drain out those lines, all because the street is plugged up. So what are you going to do with all that? I mean, it's like limited resources, the widening of the sidewalk. I walked that sidewalk. It is not big. And I can't even picture that building where you're going to have this wide sidewalk, not to mention all the parking. It's just, this would be great in San Francisco. It's not good for where that spot is right now. It's really out of reach. It's just out of reach. And I don't know how everyone expects us, if this does go through, for us to adapt to all of this. It's just too much. It's too congested. And I hope you take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next speaker is Susan Baker.
Good evening, Chairman Shores, commissioners, and staff. My name is Susan Baker, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the Burlingame SFO Chamber of Commerce. I would like to clarify that the Chamber's recent communication regarding the proposed Two Park Road redevelopment project was intended to inform our membership about an upcoming public hearing and encourage community awareness and participation in the planning process. The Chamber was not taking a formal position in support of or opposition to this specific project. As an organization, the Burlingame Chamber of Commerce supports the city's broader housing goals and recognizes the importance of thoughtful planning that align with Burlingame's adopted policies, including the downtown specific plan and the city's long-term vision of economic vitality, sustainability, and community balance. We appreciate developments and community discussions that help address housing needs, support local businesses, encourage transit-oriented growth, and contribute positively to the overall health of our city. At the same time, we respect the public view of the entire community. The Chamber maintains committed, the Chamber remains committed to supporting constructive dialogue, transparency, and policies that benefit Burlingame residents, businesses, and the community as a whole. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, the public hearing is still open. Anyone who would like to can come forward and wish to speak on this item.
Hi, my name is Sheree. We're the owner of 1208, 1210 Peninsula, which is right on Wood Peninsula, right behind this building. This is the first time I got this notice in the mail, and I was surprised. That's what's gonna happen. So we have two tenants living in those two duplex. If this building goes up, it's gonna darken the property, and also it's gonna take away their privacy. Plus, we're gonna have parking issues. And I'm sure you're familiar with Peninsula, especially in the morning rush hour. It's all jammed up right by the stoplight as you turn to park. So I have concern what's gonna happen when they start the building. My tenants are gonna leave for sure. And I mean, I'm 100% concerned about this project. It's a beautiful project. It's gonna make, Burlingame look very nice, but we're not happy. We either have to sell our property or we cannot have any tenants. So that's our concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else who'd like to speak on this item?
Hi, my name is Zach Roslin. I'm just a resident of Burlingame. I'm speaking in support of this project. I think this is a good example of the type of housing we need in Burlingame. We have a pretty big housing shortage and pretty big jobs to housing ratio imbalance. I also think that this would probably be a very good thing for the businesses downtown to have a lot more foot traffic without impacting really parking, since this project has quite a bit of parking. I think I've seen that the average actual usage of like a similar development like this near Good Transit in the peninsula is like 0.75 spots per unit, so that this is a little bit above that. I also like seeing that there's some 3-bedroom apartments, which is pretty rare to see as someone who has kids. I think it's nice to have, for families to have options of something that fits their family without having to pay $3 million for a single family home. And because our housing shortage is so urgent, I would urge you to approve as quickly as possible without major reviews that could delay this project and make it more costly. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else who'd like to speak on this item? Okay. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
Before you close, is it okay if I ask one more question?
But we can briefly reopen the hearing. Sure. So yeah.
I don't know. I'm just curious.
Sure.
So I know that you're offering the six and six units that are moderate and lower.
Correct.
Just judging from your other projects for an average apartment in there, do you have an idea what you would charge a month
For the
for rent?
market rate or for the below market rate?
For the market rate?
Okay, so I have an idea, but this project's a couple years out. So I will say, I think roughly, we're in the low 3,000s for studios, low 2,000s for ones, low 5,000s for twos, and around 6,500 for a 3-bedroom.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, because we reopened the public hearing, there's another opportunity. If anyone would like to speak on this item, they can. Okay, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners, comments? Go.
I think it is a gateway project in terms of the entrance to Burlingame at El Camino. Maybe for the public who are critics of this, it could have been a lot worse. I mean, I think these developers have actually put forth a pretty good looking project. Because the state is pushing housing, this project is under SB 330, AB 130, State Density Bonus Code 65915. Really, local cities don't have a lot of say in the size of these projects. So what we do have a say in is the aesthetic and trying to make it as beautiful as possible to fit into our city. So I think in this case, the developer has come forward with a project that is actually quite nice. On the density side and the height side, we actually have no control over that at a city level anymore. This is a state mandate to increase housing in California. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. We can't say no, that the building has to be 30 feet shorter and 50 apartments smaller. It's just not the purview anymore. Municipalities.
Thank you for clarifying. Any other? Anyone want to start? Sure.
I think given the density, it is a very nice project. I think the materials and the open area, the back is tall, but the front has some nice breakup to it. And it's hard to get all 4 sides to be perfect. We struggle with that with a lot of them. But I think overall, it's not just a big box like some of the other ones we've seen in the region. And I think the articulation is nice. So I just hope that the detailing at the next level continues to make those opportunities look good. But overall, I think you've done a good job. Would love to see, I'm concerned about the sidewalk width as everybody else, because that is one of the things we're also seeing in some of our other neighbors, where they're building right up to the property line with no sidewalk. And then it doesn't give anywhere for the pedestrians to go. And we do have a lot of residential on the next, on the next few blocks that are going to be passing. So anything you can do landscaping wise or lack of landscaping wise to try and to make that pedestrian friendly, I think will be of great help. But otherwise, I'm in support of the project as a whole.
I just wanted to ask, is there a way, I can't remember how wide park is. I can't remember the width, but maybe there's a way to kind of, instead of putting the magnolias, which I find is actually definitely a benefit to the project, pushing them more out, whether it's with bulb outs or something. So there's kind of a, you could push them out more towards the street like they've done on some areas of, I guess, North Rollins and stuff. That might buy you some room, and maybe the street doesn't need to be quite as, it's a very wide street. I just can't remember how wide it is. So maybe you could look at that. And I sympathize also very much with the people who've spoken. As my colleague mentioned, there's not that much we can do about it, but it would really be nice if the developer could consider that this is a big straight up wall on a couple of those sides, and it would be great to green those up somehow with those vines or something. Can't do much about the light at certain times of day, but I think it would look much warmer that way. I'm sorry that we didn't, I'm grateful to our staff, all of them who've worked on this a long time. I know that they've worked a long time on it. It's certainly probably much better than when it arrived, but it would have been nice to see it earlier than so baked, because I think we generally, as a group, we can pretty much improve just about anything. And I'm not speaking just because of me. I think this is a group that has a variety of backgrounds. So sorry about that, but here we are. So would like to see some of those things worked on. I think it could be improved on without taking away the pluses on the building. So those are my thoughts.
Any other comments? Yeah, I agree with my fellow commissioners. I would absolutely love to see some bulb outs with trees in them along Park. It is 4 lanes wide there, right? There's 1 lane of parking, there's 2 lanes oncoming, and then 1 lane going away. That's because it's such an odd intersection that it faces, where El Camino kind of comes in at an angle. And I also, Peninsula is a little bit crazy, even not on rush hour, on that intersection. It is definitely odd. And so I would also love to see bulb outs there to try and calm the traffic somewhat, to make it seem less like a highway off-ramp, to shorten the crossing distance for pedestrians, which also increases the flow of traffic, because then cars don't have to wait so long for people to cross in the first place. So that would be great, but I also do know that a lot of this is not within the purview of the project strictly. It comes into things like I asked earlier about, intersection improvements through developer fees. We don't even technically control half this intersection because it's El Camino, but these are things that I am big picture and little picture fine detail concerned about when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I would love to see.
It's not El Camino.
It's not?
No, it's not yet El Camino. Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, they could at the corner, at least where the crosswalk is, they could do a bulb out.
Right. Well, that we definitely do this part, but anyway, right. So I would love to see if the developer is able to work something out with the city as this thing gets closer to getting out the door. If there's any way to make a change like that, to make that intersection a little bit safer and less hectic, that would be really amazing. Really, really amazing. In terms of the aesthetics, I've seen a lot of this veneer tile done on a lot of buildings. I think it's a good material. I'm pretty happy with it. I think there's a pretty good attention paid to the pedestrian realm, not just to the material, but in the way that the fenestration changes and things like that. I'd like to see some of those on that sort of like gray vertical volume right there on the corner. I would love to see some of that detail applied to some other parts of the building where it's a little bit more sparse. But that being said, I also think it looks pretty good for what it is, for the volume that it's at. So I don't have any major issues with that. So I think, let's see. That's pretty much everything I have to say. Under the things that we have say over and purview over. Does anyone have a motion?
And I think we need to do two separate ones for the map and one for the entire.
That's correct. Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we approve the design review with the state density board. Am I supposed, can I do those together?
One resolution.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Did I get enough?
With the conditions of approval.
With the conditions of approval that are in the resolution.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Schmidt, seconded by Commissioner Horan. Any discussions on the motion? Okay, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schmidt,
Aye.
Chair.
Aye. Okay. Motion passes 4001. Okay. Let's see.
You ready for
Do I-
the one?
Right.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the tentative parcel map per the conditions of approval and the resolution.
I'll second that. Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Schmidt, seconded by Commissioner Shores. Any discussion on the motion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schmidt,
Aye.
Chair Shores.
Aye. Motion passes 4001. And do I need to read the next? Okay. An action by the Planning Commission is appealable to the City Council within 10 days of the Planning Commission's action. If the Planning Commission's action has not been appealed or called up for review by the City Council by 5 p.m. on the 10th day, the action becomes final. In order to be effective, appeals must be in writing and must be accompanied by an appeal fee of $924, which includes notice and costs. Thank you. Okay, now we have got action item 7D. Amendments to Title 25.
Can you make me a panelist?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't take it personally.
Just going to give it a second to clear out. Okay. Good evening, Planning Commissioners. The next item before you is a variety of amendments that are being proposed to our regulations to create a transit development overlay zones within our zoning code and regulations. This is in response to Senate Bill 79 that was signed by the governor earlier this year, and that goes into effect July 1st, 2026. So what SB 79, the Senate bill specifically does, it allows housing development on site zone for residential, mixed use, and commercial uses within a quarter mile of transit stations in cities with populations of 35,000 or less. There are different tiers and different requirements for larger cities, but this requirement specifically pertains to Burlingame, given our population. The law itself establishes set development standards for densities, heights, and floor area ratios, or FARs. And it allows the new law to be combined with the alphabet soup of state laws that are in effect, which you just acted on, a variety of them in the last project. So SB 330, SB 35, state density bonus law, AB 130 can all be combined together with Senate Bill 79 for these type of development projects. So basically what it has done is that it's taken properties surrounding a transit site and open it up to residential development, even if the zoning regulations or requirements in that city did not have residential as an allowed use previously. So what does that mean for the city of Burlingame specifically? So the city has, under SB 79, 2 impacted TOD zones, or transit-oriented development zones. One is the Burlingame Station, which is located in downtown in close proximity to us right now. And then the other is the Millbury Station that does, the radius does overlap with the city limits of Burlingame. The Broadway station is not part of this, these provisions, and not a part of the regulations because of the infrequency of the stops that are occurring at the Broadway. What in essence would apply when SB 79 took effect on July 1st would be that, thank you, Ruben, that within a quarter mile radius of those 2 stations, these regulations would take effect, and they do have 2 tiers. So within 200 feet, 200-foot radius of the site, the development standards for residential development would be 95 feet in height, 160 dwelling units per acre, and a floor area ratio of 4.5. And then from the 200 to quarter mile radius, the development standards will be 75 feet in height, 120 dwelling units per acre, and 3.5 FAR. So what are the city's options prior to them taking effect? What the city could do is, under the state law, it allows the cities to take a look at its current regulations to see if it meets SB 79 requirements, meaning does our densities and allowed uses currently comply with those standards? And they do not. The law does allow cities to delay or exclude certain areas from SB 79. It allows it to delay to the next RHNA cycle, the 7th cycle, and you can do that and kind of kick the can down the road, or you can exclude certain areas if they meet certain criteria. Unfortunately, the city of Burlingame cannot do that since our downtown does not have prescribed densities and FARs. As Catherine described under the last project we just looked at, we cannot exclude any sites or delay them to the 7th cycle RHNA. The statute does allow cities to create an alternative plan, and there is very specific criteria which the law indicates that are used to evaluate or create an alternative plan. And the city is able to do that. This was discussed with the City Council back on March 16th of this year, and the City Council's direction to staff was to prepare an alternative plan to Senate Bill 79 prior to its effective date of July 1st, which kicked community development staff into high gear in developing this alternative plan in such a short time. So some of the parameters of that alternative plan is it must maintain at least the same total number of units and floor area as would be allowed under SB 79, meaning within that radius area, whatever the density and development regulations that SB 79 would trigger would result in a certain amount of units. The alternative plan still needs to plan for those amount of units. cities are able to subtract existing on-the-ground built units from the overall number to try and reduce it or develop a net capacity. But in essence, you'd have to build those units. Calculations were done, and that's about approximately 16,317 units would be required across both of the TOD zones that were described. The plan that we have created accommodates 16,393 units across the two TOD zones. So we just do barely a little bit more than what the SB 79 regulations would require. Some of the other parameters is the alternative plan can't reduce the maximum density by more than 50%, which is 60 units per acre for the quarter-mile radius and 80 units per acre for within the 200 feet. And it can't increase the maximum density more than 200%, meaning you can't just take all of the units and put them in one location and extremely increase the density while lowering them in other areas. So that would be 240 units per acre in the quarter mile and 320 units per acre within the 200 feet. And then you can't reduce the capacity in any TOD zone area in total units or FAR by more than 50% or increase beyond 200. Again, same principle, you can't take it all from downtown and put them all on North Burlingame or vice versa. So we did all this horse trading and calculations, and the plan that staff has developed was to create two separate transit-oriented development overlays, one for our downtown and one for North Burlingame. I'll start with the downtown TOD overlay, which we're calling DTOD, on the left-hand side of the screen. And so this map shows the quarter-mile rate, the parcels that are affected within the quarter-mile radius. The darker colored area is a sub-area A that we've created. And then we created sub-area B, which is shown in that second gradient color. And the reason why we created two sub-areas was to try to tier the development standards and regulations to create the most intense standards around the parcels that are closest to the transit station itself, and then lower the densities and development standards as it radiates out from that. So we were able to get sub-area A, again, the darker colored blue that's shown, to a density of 100 dwelling units per acre, which SB 79 would require the 160 dwelling units per acre. And we maintain the residential floor area ratio of 4.5 and the height of 95 feet. Under the regulations of SB 79, alternative plans cannot reduce the height. So you can reduce the density and or FAR, but you cannot reduce the height. And then sub-area B, we were able to calculate so that the densities were 60 dwelling units per acre with a height of 75 feet and then FAR of 3.5. So under SB 79, the quarter mile radius would be 100 dwelling units per acre, and we've reduced that to 60 dwelling units per acre instead. With those calculations, you can see on the bottom of the screen is how many units we were able to garner in the gross square footage of those areas. So we did not go through the exercise of counting all the existing units on site. That would be a extremely challenging exercise to go through. Our assessor records are not that detailed right now. We'd have to go parcel by parcel and calculate. We instead tried to do the calculations at that gross level first, and we're able to accommodate all the units without having to subtract existing units. And then on the right side of the screen is the North Burlingame Transit-Oriented Development Overlay, which is on the north side of Burlingame. The darker yellow shaded are the parcels that are within the quarter mile radius. Since the Millbrae Station is in Millbrae, there are no parcels within 200 feet within the city of Burlingame. We are only in the quarter mile radius, and there are only a handful of sites that are impacted by that, as you can see from this map. Sure.
Is that before you move along, I just had a couple of questions.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah, unless you want to do it all at the end, it's up to you.
Up to you guys. If I have a couple more slides, if
Okay,
you'd like
that-
to wait till the end, and maybe I'll answer your question.
Okay, go to the end.
Okay. For the North Burlingame Transit-Oriented Development overlay, since this north end of the town has higher densities and heights under the Rollins Road specific plan and the zoning districts in that area, we did increase these a little further to pick up some additional units and be more in line with the existing specific plans. So the NBTOD has a height of 80 feet, where SB 79 is 75, and we left it at 80 feet because that aligns with the North Rollins specific plan, which already allows 80 feet in height. And then a density of 150 dwelling units per acre versus the 120 under SB 79. The North Rollins specific plan already allows 140 units per acre. We increased the density a little bit and picked up some extra units that way, and believe that was still in alignment with the specific plan and the development regulations of that area. And then those are the number of residential units that are able to be garnered from this overlay. So all the amendments that were needed to be able to create these overlays and bring our regulations into conformance with the TOD plan and SB 79, we basically touched everything. So it includes a zoning code amendment, a zoning map amendment, a general plan amendment, a land use map amendment, downtown specific plan amendment, and North Rollins specific plan amendment. We'll just briefly, and there is more detailed in the staff report of all the exact locations and amendments we made, but in general, these are the amendments that we made to be able to clean up our regulations and introduce the overlay zones. So we added the overlays into the zoning code itself and updated the zoning map to reflect the areas where the overlay is taking effect in the downtown and North Burlingame area. We removed the Anita Road and the R4 incentive overlays, which had different density standards so that they were not in conflict with the new overlays. And then we basically peeled out all of the zoning regulations for the downtown specific plan and North Rollins specific plan out of the zoning code and just put them in the specific plans. We had regulations in both areas, and over time it's complicated to keep both up to date, and there was conflicts, and to make it just clean moving forward, we took them all out of the zoning code and put them all in the specific plans. So everything related to the downtown specific plan lives in the specific plan. Everything related to North Rollins Road specific plan lives in that specific plan and is not cross-referenced or doubled or erroneously quoted in the zoning code. So there is a lot of cleanup items that you see tons of strikeouts related to that. It's not that things are changing, they're just being moved from one plan to the other. Through the general plan, we took out all the densities and FARs that were listed in there, again, to not conflict with the new regulations. And then we changed the live work land use designation in the general plan for the North Rollins specific plan area to North Rollins specific plan, so that it it matched what downtown specific plan does, which it says land use designation down specific plan. Now it says land use designation of North Rollins specific plan, so there's no conflict. In the downtown specific plan, we added the DTOD overlay and its requirements into the specific plan itself, and updated all the land use tables and development standards based off what was in the zoning code, updated all the maps and graphics. And a cleanup item we did is we added a base density to all of the zoning districts that allow residential uses. So in the previous two park project, we had to go through the exercise of doing a density bonus calculation for the site because there was no prescribed densities, and I won't bore you with the challenge and conflict of what that entails to have to go through. And so we will never have to do that again. We've added prescribed densities, which will make it much clearer for everyone involved about how much density increase they get. For example, the base density that was calculated for the two park project was 120 dwelling units per acre based on the information they provided, and state law requires that we accept what they provide. The new base densities are 60 dwelling units per acre, and it's just going to match the TOD zone. So it's half of what they were proposing with the project. Now, they can build what they have, and it predates this, but for future projects, 60 dwelling units per acre for any zoning district in the downtown that allows residential uses is what's now prescribed. And then in the North Rollins specific plan, we had the RMU zoning district still in the zoning code that conflicted with the regulations in the zoning district in the North Rollins specific plan. We just removed all the RMU out of the zoning code and made it very clean that whatever the specific plan indicated are the development standards. We added the NBTOD overlay into the North Rollins specific plan, updated the maps and the graphics and the standards all in that specific plan as well. And that's it. So with that, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission by resolution recommend to City Council. And we have two different resolutions. One, because one will be an ordinance to amend Title 25, the zoning code and the zoning map under CEQA determination exemption 15378 and 15061B3, and then a separate resolution to amend the general plan, the land use map, the downtown specific plan, and North Rollins Road specific plan with the same CEQA determination. It is scheduled and planned that based on Planning Commission's recommendation tonight, we will be going to City Council on June 1st for the first reading and then June 15th for the second reading in order to be able to adopt the regulations prior to the SB 79 law taking effect on July 1st. And I'm available for any questions.
Why don't you go first? No, nobody.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have just a clarifying question on the downtown specific plan. The radius includes a lot of R1.
Yes.
So do these densities apply to R1?
Yes.
So you could have a neighbor who puts 10 units on
Yes.
his property. Nice.
They could have done 120 units per acre.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, it does not differentiate. It does apply to R1. It will be a little challenging. Those parcels are very narrow. They look like 50 by 150, like traditional historic, like narrow deep lots. But effectively, these would be the development standards for those properties.
Other questions?
Yes. Thank you for all. It's not a question, but thank you all. Really appreciate it. So for me, it's sort of a confusion, just how this works. So I guess the first thing was, yes, thank you, going back to this screen. So you had in the north area, you had I guess you chose 80, and I guess, and because it's allowed now, so you didn't want to go, I don't know, to 85, or I'm trying to understand, because there it seems like there are very tall buildings, or could be potentially very tall buildings. So I was trying to understand why not put more over there? Is it because you can't reduce it over here anyway? I'm saying over here, over in the downtown. Is that the reason?
So yes, given kind of the thresholds of how much you can adjust and the amount of units we had to plan for between the two areas, we can't go any less than 60 dwelling units per acre. So that's as low as we can go anyways. For the within 200 feet, we went in the downtown, we went to 100 dwelling units per acre, which given that you could go up to 95 feet, seemed like a good dwelling unit ratio for that. And we could get these densities at 150 dwelling units per acre and account for all the units that we needed to do. So it was a numbers game that kind of
Math
built
problem.
a few,
Good at math.
few versions to land on this, and we thought this was the best set of standards.
Okay, great. So then, these are then really specific questions. I noticed that in your, the downtown area, so you have the historic train station is included and in there, and I mean, I think that would be unlikely anyone would try to tear that down, but I thought historic structures were exempt, so I didn't understand why that was included in the striping.
It's included in the overlay because it's included in SB 79. You're right, it's unlikely the structure is on the parcel that the train comes and goes from. Unless Caltrain decides to redevelop, they'll have to do a historic assessment at that time. But the only way to exempt sites from this was if they were landmarked now. And
Oh, it is landmarked.
it is landmarked?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. So, and maybe you could just take the footprint out. I mean, they have a covenant, they have a certain footprint there. It's, it's not huge. Maybe you could find, or well, you have extra anyway, but
Yeah, so
yeah,
landmark
it is
are
landmarked.
protected.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that that was on the record. And then.
Thank you for that clarification.
Sure. Not much is landmarked, but that one is. And then, let's see. I had one more. Oh, yeah, it's just, don't understand. So the way you organized it sounds like with the alternative plan, the development standards, the other ones besides the height, they kind of were transferred. So we haven't fiddled with those, like the setbacks, like things like the El Camino setback, it remained the same. That was transferred. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the TOD overlay specifically says in its language that all other applicable standards of the underlying zoning district, municipal code, or specific plan still apply.
Yeah, okay, I thought I read that, just wanted to hear it from your mouth.
Mhm.
And then finally, and it's just I'm not understanding completely. So I know the downtown plan pretty well, and there's several areas actually that are really, they're the business district. They don't have residential allowed except for like certain areas of it. Is that remaining the same as well, or no? Everything now becomes housing?
Yes.
It can. So I guess what I want to ask is, if there is a mixed-use project that it's mainly a business, but it's got, I don't know, 3 units somewhere in it, do they also get to be whatever we've determined 75 feet tall? What is the threshold?
So the downtown specific plan has existing zoning districts and standards. So
Right.
take this overlay and put it to the side. There are existing development standards and requirements and heights and now densities within the downtown. So the existing height, I believe right now, Catherine, you can correct me, it's 35 feet and then 55 feet
55.
special permit.
Right.
So those are the allowed heights. This overlay also covers that area, and a property owner could choose to develop under the regulations of the overlay. The overlay has specific criteria that has to be met. It's very detailed under the statute. It has to have a minimum of 5 units. There's some labor
That was the question. It has to have units.
to meet those thresholds.
I see.
And then they can use the overlay with these applicable development standards.
That was what I was curious about. So there's some minimal standards, but which
Yeah.
can override, and then that is the
Yeah.
overlay. That was great. Oh,
So you can
Yeah.
build under what the downtown specific plan regulations say,
mhm.
or if you meet the criteria of the overlay, you can invoke the overlay and develop a housing project based off of that.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Those were my questions.
I have a few questions. So just briefly, like y'all were just discussing, there are like basically two criteria, right? You can do the current planning or you can meet a set of criteria and go under sub area A and B here, right? Are there any other major criteria other than like labor, minimum number of units, stuff like that?
It's outlined in the staff report. I think there's minimum number of units, there's affordable housing requirements, there's labor requirements, and a few other criteria that they have to meet. It has to be a housing development project under a government code, which means it needs to be all residential or at least 2/3 residential.
Oh.
And if they,
Could do mixed use if you wanted to?
yes,
Okay,
you can.
thank you.
And if you meet those criteria, then you can develop using these development standards.
Okay, do you happen to know off the top of your head the specific affordable housing requirements that they are having, like 5%, whatever like I saw what the previous requirements were on the last project, but, okay.
Yeah, it's in this, thank you.
7, 10, 13, which I assume is moderate.
Oh,
So 7 is extremely low, 10 is very low, 13 is low.
Okay. So really, there's no requirement for moderate, it's just low, very low, and extreme? Okay, okay.
which I prefer.
No, that sounds good to me, all things considering. Okay, bigger question. Probably saw I was coming with this one. Generally speaking, what are the protections for historic landmarked structures, sites under this legislation as you understand it? We mentioned that there are, requirements if someone wanted to say somehow build a tower on top of the train station, right? If it was a government entity, they'd have to do, Section 106 if they were using federal money, whatever. But like, are there any specific clauses in this SB 79 that talk about like, you can't use a national landmark site for this, for instance, or is it like excluded from the thing or whatever?
SB 79 nor our alternative plan exempts CEQA. So it's not a state law or a requirement that's going to exempt projects from CEQA. Now, there are other state laws that can exempt the project from CEQA, like AB 130. But under these regulations, a project would still have to go through the development review process, comply with CEQA, submit applications, and so forth, and be reviewed. So if there was a eligible site or a known historic resource, all of those implications would still apply.
Right. Is that one of those scenarios where a project would need to have like a negative declaration? I think, is that the right term in order to, for not the SB 79, but you said one of those other laws, it would need something like that to say, we're going to bypass CEQA because we have a document saying it doesn't affect that. Am I saying that correctly?
So it wouldn't necessarily prescribe the environmental document that was needed. We do a historic resource evaluation like we do on other properties, and you often see on single-family residential to see if it meets any eligible criteria. And at that point, that would, depending on the criteria and its eligibility, the appropriate environmental document and process would be determined.
Okay. You did also mention that some part of SB 79 required that a site be landmarked at a certain.
If you wanted to exempt it
From-
from the sites.
Right, okay. So in theory, let's say that a landmark or a district was established next year somewhere in sub-area B, right? As of right now, I understand SB 79 does not interact with that, right? But it sounds like what you're saying is there's like a separate process that you need to do because these don't negate CEQA. You'd still have to do CEQA for those properties. Is that right?
So for a site a historic resource or a historic district or eligible sites to have been exempted from SB 79, they needed to be existing sites prior to this law taking effect. So if next year that happened, that wouldn't exempt these sites from these SB 79 or these requirements. But again, the normal process would still occur for a development review that occurs for any site irrespective of these regulations. So an assessment is done, and if there's an eligible site, it goes through that CEQA process.
Right. So there would be a normal, whatever the environmental document is you mentioned, right?
Correct.
There's nothing in this law that says like you can ignore, I suppose in this case, it would be historic resources, but one of the pillars of CEQA in order to make a project happen, right?
Correct.
Okay, it doesn't exempt anything in that way.
It does not exempt anything from CEQA or the normal historic resource process.
Right. So in that sense, it sounds like what not having a site landmarked before now does is it adds development pressure, but it doesn't negate a current environmental historic review of some kind, right?
Correct.
Okay. Thank
This law is just establishing development standard. It's basically opening the door for housing development where housing development was not allowed, and then it establishes development standards for that.
Okay, thank you. That's a very thorough answer. Appreciate it. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. We have one speaker request card for public comment for Kate Phillips. Okay. Hello.
Hi, I am a Burlingame resident of almost 30 years, and I'm here on behalf of, I'm on the board at NAMI San Mateo County, which is our National Alliance for Mental Illness nonprofit. We're part of the biggest national nonprofit for mental illness education, support, advocacy, and I'm here with a fellow board member, Ellie. We support individuals with mental illness and families of people with mental illness, which is how we got started, our organization 50 years ago. We just wanted to bring to your attention, and we're looking how to do this more in our advocacy work. 25% of people have a mental health condition, and over 5% of people have a debilitating mental health condition where they can't do their daily functions without support. And 2% of people need permanent supportive housing. So here in Burlingame, that's roughly 300 people. And that means those people are on SSI or SSDI and need very low income housing, permanent supportive housing. What we're seeing in our community, we served over 12,000 people last year, from high school students to seniors. There are a lot of senior people who are supporting adult children at home with mental illness who have they don't have a plan for when they pass away, and these adults will be on their own, and they could end up, worst case, on the street or even in our 2 jails because they do something like trespass when delusional, something minor. So we're just really wanting to say to you that when this project, when this high density housing gets going, at the very least, we're hoping to see the minimum extremely low, very low income for people in our community, in our mental health community, who need that. And ideally, even, for our community, for supportive housing, a bigger grouping of people is better. Like 5% in the approved building is great, much better than nothing, but that's a few people, and you can't bring in caseworkers or access to community treatment or classes, the support that's needed when there's no longer a family member around. Unless it's easier if there's like an all supportive housing unit that has people coming into a community center for those people. So that's just our hope that you all will keep in mind for this development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, any other members of the public attending in person who'd like to speak? Okay.
Hello, my name's Zach. Hi again. I live in the, not quite in the radius, I'm probably about a half mile from the train station towards 101 in a R1 zoned area. I kind of feel like this is a good opportunity to have more homes in that area. It's very close to Washington Park, Washington Elementary, Caltrain, supermarkets, restaurants. So I think that would actually be a great spot, both within that quarter-mile zone, and if we were to do more, like I live a little bit more than quarter mile, but like even up to a half mile, I think would be, we can use this SB 79 as a good opportunity to sort of revisit what our zoning is and where we can make up some of the areas and make it more affordable. I think it's a good opportunity. I noticed that what we have on the proposal is like kind of like exactly meeting the SB 79 mandates, but like I said, I think it's a good opportunity to kind of go above and beyond, be an example for other cities in the peninsula. I know it was a lot of work probably to do all this stuff. I don't know how and when one would even start. So yeah, I appreciate everyone's work. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Comments?
Yeah, just thank you to the planning staff for getting all this done before the July 1st deadline. I think it is a benefit to Burlingame to not just have to follow the state mandate numbers, have a plan that meets our city's unique needs.
Yeah, that sounds like it was probably a lot of work. And I'm happy to see that we're taking advantage of the opportunities that they're giving us to make the best of what's here as we have it now, because yeah, I think leaning into it is definitely the better way to go. And there are things I think could be slightly better about the way that the parcel maps might be drawn, or maybe the law is written or whatever, but that's not what the resolution is about. So I'm in favor of what we've got today. Unless anyone else has more.
No, I appreciate, I know it was a lot of work on your guys' part. I like a lot of work to do this special plan, but we're a special place. And I think this is better than the template that the state is giving to everybody. So, as much as we can to make it our own, I think that's great and really appreciate the work.
Any other comments? Okay, do we have a motion?
Yes. I propose that we recommend to the city council to amend Title 25 zoning of the Burlingame Municipal Code and the zoning map. Do I need sequel stuff too?
If I may, I think we have 4 resolutions tonight, and it would be, am I right?
Right here.
Yeah. So I think it would be neater, cleaner, to do one motion per reso.
Okay.
And Director.
Sure, I'm happy to help and steer that if that's helpful. So the first resolution would be that the Planning Commission recommend the City Council by resolution amend Title 25 of the Burlingame Municipal Code and the zoning map.
I'll second that. So that's what you said, right? That was
what I said.
So that's number 1. Okay.
Got a motion by Commissioner Schmidt, seconded by Commissioner Haran. Any comments? Nope. Okay, roll call vote.
Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schmidt,
Aye.
Chair Shores.
Aye. Motion passes 4001.
And then the second resolution is that the Planning Commission recommend the City Council amend the general plan and the land use map.
What was the last part?
Land use map.
Land use map. Okay. So I propose that we recommend to city council to amend the general plan and the city map.
I'll second that as well.
Okay. Another motion by Commissioner Schmidt, seconded by Commissioner Haran. Any comments on the motion? Roll call vote?
Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schmidt,
Aye.
Chair Shores.
Aye. Motion passes 4001.
And the third resolution is that the Planning Commission recommends the City Council amend the downtown specific plan.
So I propose that we recommend to city council to amend the downtown specific plan.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Schmidt, seconded by Commissioner Pfaff. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schmidt,
Aye.
Chair Shores.
Aye. Motion passes 4001.
And lastly, I propose that the planning commission recommend to city council the approval of the North Rollins specific plan.
Oh, second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Schmidt, seconded by Commissioner Pfaff. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schmidt,
Aye.
Chair Shores.
Aye. Motion passes 4001.
Can I just add so that it doesn't get lost? Is there somewhere in these maps where we can point out that, yes, we do have a national register property on that map, rather than having it all Xed on the downtown one?
It wouldn't be noted on the
Oh.
zoning map or the land use map. The landmarking is all separate
Okay.
documentation, but know that it's there and it's in place and would
Okay.
apply.
Thank you.
If there's one place in this city that's
At least that one in that,
Post office is also land.
It is absolutely too.
it's actually not on a register.
Yes, it's like anyway.
No. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
okay. So
Mm-hmm.
we have no study agenda items. Any staff or commissioner reports?
No.
Okay.
I just wanted to, as evidenced by the amount of work tonight that was brought to you, commend staff for
Yeah.
preparing that, both the project on Park Road and SB 79 bill. But I just wanted to highlight a few other things that staff is working on, just so you know what may be upcoming in this coming year. So we're wrapping up the safety element, that's going to City Council at the
I'm
beginning.
sorry, what? You're wrapping up what?
Safety element.
Oh, okay.
It was
Uh-huh.
before you a
Right.
few meetings ago. Yeah. We're working on the environmental justice element that'll be coming up. The Bayfront specific plan, but also we just embarked on that. So we're working on that. There'll be a sign code update later this year. And also updates to the public facilities impact fees and the residential impact fees. Those have not been updated in a while, so we're working on that. So staff is really working hard at a lot of these items that you don't see sometimes until they're brought forward to you. So just wanted to highlight some of the things that we're working on.
Thank you very
All I had.
much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay. With no other staff or commissioner reports, then we can say the meeting is adjourned at 9:40. That
Good job, Walker.
was about as long as I thought it would be. Yeah.